Well, happy Saturday, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 4th of November, 2023 here. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here in downtown Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Again, Veterans Day week coming up here again. Some 34 years ago, had a walk with this pretty famous general, Norman Schwarzkopf. Used weather to his advantage many times. Again, so forever changed how we think as a scientist. Again, thinking more statistics and climate cycles if you're going to do year-ahead weather. And again, a lot of folks say, well, that's impossible. And it is if you're a meteorology, and that's what our degrees are in. But found that statistics and cycles work a lot better than traditional physics and meteorology. So today we work with some of these hundreds of Fortune 500,000 clients, again, all over the world. So it works if you think a little differently. And the goal of our technology doesn't look anything like your TV weather forecast. Again, the goal, if you can predict the weather year ahead, you can predict thousands of seasonal things that you buy. And we can predict those things. We can predict how much inventory, where to allocate it, when to promote, when to advertise, do all those things in the right weather and have you better results. We'll end the commercial there, but again, tonight we have to fall back. Not happy about it, but daylight savings time ends at 2 a.m. Here tonight. Again, so you'll gain an hour of sleep, but it'll be much darker in the evening. Then on Tuesday we have Election Day, and then Saturday, Veterans Day. So again, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Not happy if you like snow here, because this is going to be a negative theme here for the next 2-3 weeks. Snow cover here this morning is only about 7.6% of the country after very snowy end of October. We're starting off with a not so snowy here, November. So again, about 16% snow cover last year. Average is about 8%, but this will unfortunately diminish. If we look at the 6-day snowfall outlook here, again, high elevations in the Rockies. Again, Colorado, Northern Rockies, maybe far northern Maine here, but not a lot of snow where people live. In fact, least and 86% less than last year. Look at the world 2-week outlook. If there's going to be some snowy spots, it'll be the typical spots of Siberia, northeast China. Could get some heavy snow. That'll be a little unusual. In northeast Canada. But again, not a lot here in the U.S. Last week, world summer here, again, a flip-flop here again. It was very cold, 9.8 degrees, colder than last year to end October here, week ending 4 November today. Coldest in 4 years, 8th coldest in 38 years. This was actually the biggest drop in weekly temperatures since Christmas week for the U.S. overall. So a very cold week, big change from last year. 44% drier than a year ago, 12th driest in 38 years, below average. Snowfall up 52% again here ending today, more than last year, most in 4 years, 17th most in 38 years. Also very cold there in Canada, coldest in 4 years. Cold across Australia, actually very dry across Australia. They've had one of the driest springs in over 38 years so far. May finally get some rain here, but very dry spring for them. Cold in UK had, again, the big bomb cyclone here again. So they had number one wettest conditions in 38 years across the UK, Europe. So very wet UK and Europe with a little bit cooler trends, but still slightly above average. Good news here with the warmer trend that's coming up here. And again, as of right now, flu is down about 40% versus last year because we had a very cold start to the fall last year. 8% below baseline this year. So that orange line's last year, red line's this year. With just a few weeks of this time last year, we were heading to a major peak flu season around Thanksgiving. Not the case this year. We think it's going to be more toward January, maybe even early February. But for sure by January, we're going to be talking peak flu here, but way below last year's levels. So some good news there, healthier population. If we look at this week here, again, Veterans Day, week ending the 11th. Here in the U.S., the warmer trend has already started. How quickly this changed from cold to warm. 2.2 warmer than last year, warmest in 18 years, second warmest in 38 years. Snowfall down a whopping 92%, least in 7 years, fourth least in 38. Rainfall down about 60%, driest in 7 years, eighth driest in 38 years. So a warmer, dry, less snowy trend here. Not good for retail seasonal sales. They had a phenomenal week last week. Not the case here this week as we get a pretty big warming trend. If there's any good news here, it's going to be probably far northern New England, northeast again. We're colder than last year, but again, a warming trend for sure. We look at next week here again, a week prior Thanksgiving, hard to believe here, week ending 18 November. Whopping 14.1 warmer than last year. This is kind of off the scale here. We'd have to go back 3 years and 8 months to see a week that trended this much hotter than last year. So going back to March of 2020, I believe, was this warm. So warmest in 7 years, second warmest in 38 years. This is very unfavorable. Look at the map there versus last year. Much less favorable than a year ago. So unfortunately, a big downward trend in seasonal sales. Snowfall almost non-existent, 96% less than last year, least in 24 years, second least in 38. Rain is up. Again, we're seeing the El Nino signature here. So rain where they need it in the south central, south Gulf Coast for sure. 157% wetter than last year, wettest in 8, third wettest in 38. So starting to see signs of the El Nino response in the atmosphere took a while, again, as strong as this one is. And again, typical of El Ninos in the fall, you tend to have warmer weather and warmer, wetter weather, but then don't get lulled to sleep here because you can actually then have very stormy weather. Snowstorms as we get into Christmas and beyond into February. So we do still believe that the winter is going to be very interesting. If you like snow for sure, deep south, ice storms, east coast for sure, some snowier winter ahead, much snowier winter ahead here, much above average. Precip map, again, shows all that green there. So there's a lot of green above average rainfall. So it's starting to show the atmospheric response. So that, folks, have a great week. We will talk to you this time next week.